Now I'm going to introduce you to the magical world of binding, periodical binding in the City College Library. Right here is the Cohen stacks located behind circulation desk, and all the magazines and periodicals are arranged on a shelf by alphabetical order. Now, when we're going to pick out certain stacks of periodicals to bind, and there's a certain way that you have to kind of watch out for when you want to pick out certain stacks. The one thing you don't want to touch are huge stacks that definitely have red circles on them. These are JSTOR titles, and these issues basically have online versions that can be found, and they kind of, well, we have to figure out what to do with them later, but for the most part we do not bind JSTORs because they're already online. These are considered JSTORs, anything with a red circle. Everything else is up for grabs, basically. And for example, we can pick on, let's try this pile. Some periodicals are monthly, some are weekly, some are bi-weekly, some are published quarterly. This one, North American Review, appears to be a monthly. Sometimes you're lucky and you get either the season or month on the top, on the front cover. This is winter 2010, fall 2010, summer, spring. Okay, so these are seasonal, which means they're probably done 4 times a year or quarterly. Now when you find a pile, you want to arrange them from the oldest date to the oldest date first on top, down to the newest date on the bottom. And sometimes you get duplicates like these two. These are January, February 2009, January, February 2009. And you can usually throw away one. Sometimes they're been here for a while, so they're gonna have labeled duplicate, so you can already throw those out. So you take a pile, we can organize these later, but basically you're gonna see this says winter 2011, so this is fall, January 2009. Remember, you're gonna put the oldest down to the newest on the bottom. Oldest on top, newest on bottom. So you take your piles. If you have a truck here, you put it on the truck, and you take these. And let's try one more pile. These are more of the weekly titles, like Time, Newsweek. And they're located up here. There's 2 copies. There's one in the MPC desk, which I'll show you. And there's a second copy that's usually up here for circulation. This is where the students usually check them out. And we usually take the copies that are inside the desk and bind them. If the copy that, if we're having a set of like Time magazines in a drawer and we're missing like a certain date, we can take the one that's up here and use it for the binder. Every other one that's a duplicate that we already have it set in the back room, usually I would write a note on the side up here. Like say for example, we're binding from March 28th to May 16th. I would write a note like around the side saying binding set March 28th 2011 to May 16th 2011, and I'll say throw out after the date that the next binding shipment should come back, so like 2 months later. So after like 2 months, then all these can be thrown out, because eventually it's just going to keep piling and piling and piling. If we already bound them, then we can just throw them out, because it'll be the students just go downstairs and get those. So we get the copies that are in the MPC desk, and we use any of the spares up here if we're missing in the back. And then after about 2 months, we throw away this like set deck, this little set package here. Okay, well, let me take this. I'll show you the difference. So I'm going to take circulations copies, and I'm going to look in the MPC's desk, and most likely I'm going to have those already there. So whatever's there, well, I'm going to mix and match until I get a complete set, and then whatever's left over, we'll put them back in my circulations area. And then once those go out, when the freshly bound copy comes back, then we throw these out. So this is the desk that generally Rita will come in and bring in all of the issues of weekly magazines for us to bind. So we got Newsweek, we got Time, we got New York Magazine, yeah, Those are generally the three types of magazines we're going to get, and they're going to be put into this drawer. So we'll just break them into piles. New York, Time, Time, Time. As you can see, we have Time magazines here and here. So it's going to be most likely there's 2 copies of said magazines, Newsweek, Time, or New York, to be found at any time. Let's see, Newsweek, Time, Newsweek, Time, Newsweek, Time. Generally, these are weeklies. When you're binding, you would want to get no bigger than 2.5 inches in width. Yeah, you should get a ruler, and you measure it this way. And you want to make sure that it's below 2.5 inches in width. If it's too big, when it gets to the bindery, it's not going to hold together. And if the paper is really, really thick, you should start binding much less than this. But this paper is pretty light, and I would say generally as a rule, when you want to get the weeklies, you want to bind about 12 issues together, which is about 3 months worth. So let's see what we got here. Time, it's May 9th, May 2nd, top, May 16th, May 20th. Remember, we're going to order it from oldest date on top to newest date on the bottom, May 23rd. Let's see, it's Time, Time, Time.